Negative energy is something that will drain me faster than anything. I cannot stand to be around negative energy, whether it's a negative person and negative, like a negative in the negativity in a place, negativity on a platform, negativity, just any kind of negativity just drains my soul. And that's hard to do. Well, we're going to talk about what we can do just to get past it. Because what I found is that especially on social media platforms, people are ruthless and give zero F's. Okay? Well, when you take about it and you think about in real life, it's the same way. People care nothing about anybody else and their feelings. Like their energy that's put off in the vibe is just wrong. Well, I think that there's something to be said for people that can produce negative energy and not think about the effects of others. But then again, I say that to say this, normally somebody that is providing negative energy does not care one iota about anybody but themselves. Okay. So what do we do? The best thing you can do is just ignore it. I have had this conversation with William time after time after time after time. He is the caring soul and wants everybody to get along and we should all be friends, but is part of one of the hardest platforms ever. Okay. He's a faithful watcher of a lot of drama and a lot of negativity and a lot of hurt and a lot of bad things. And I just don't know how to tell him just to stop watching. So when I say we need to ignore the negativity, negative energy, that's exactly what we got to do. We can't let it pull us in. We can't let it change who we are. We have to be aware of where it's coming from. Okay? There are some people that just produce nothing but negative energy, and everything that comes from their mouth produces negative thoughts, feelings, everything. Like it's just they produce everything negative around them. I cannot do that. And so, what I do when I run into something like that, I'll give my 2 cents at first. I'll try. I'll try to change their outlook, their thought process, what they're saying. Why are you saying that? Why is it this way? But I don't try more than a handful of times because if they don't want to listen and they don't want to change it, it's not my fault. And I have the option to get up and go. I have the option to not be near. I have the option to not listen. I have the option to step away. That's what I do. So the other day, I got probably my first ever negative comment on a video, and it talked about they didn't want to listen to nobody about health if they weren't going to take care of themselves. That's just negative. There was no need for that. None at all. That was negative energy. And I could have responded. I didn't. You know what I did? Moved on. Why? Because I couldn't let it preserve me any more than it already had. I couldn't let it take from me. Okay. So ignoring negative behavior is really something that's hard to do because, again, many people get trapped in the negativity and don't realize that it's negative until it's gone too far. Um, and I would call myself associates, friends, whatever, with some people that really allow a lot of negative energy around them. And then they wonder why things are always the same. Well, because you continue to allow it. Once you stop allowing it, once you stop putting yourself in that place, once you stop allowing it to happen around you, it's going to stop. It's just going to stop. Negative energy is hard. And I just said negative energy because it could be people, it could be situations, it could be, like I said, social media, it could be anything negative. You have to learn to ignore it. You have to learn that it does not have to involve you. You have to learn that that is a boundary that you are putting in place or that are you allowing to be stepped on. And if you want to allow it, continue to allow to let it be stepped on, unfortunately, there's not much that I can help you with at this time. Hopefully, it doesn't get so bad that it becomes really, really bad and somebody's hurt or injured or anything. Hopefully, you can see the error in the ways before it gets to that avenue. Hopefully, you can be the voice for others that are being pulled into negativity. But ultimately, the issue is that you cannot change what everybody else is doing around you. But you can change how you respond. You can change about what you do. You can change of how you're going to interact or engage with that. You have all the power to make that happen. You just have to realize that you are worth it, that your boundaries are worth it, that your feelings and thoughts are worth it. You have to identify what you would want your children to be around, or your mother, or anybody. What would you do to them if they were coming to you telling you about this negativity that they're a part of? How would you tell them to get out of that? How would you help them realize that they have a choice? The only thing that I can do is tell you, if you're going to listen to the negativity, if you're going to involve yourself in the negativity, if you're going to be a part of the negativity, then you need to reevaluate your situation. Um, I think it became very apparent to me because I was in a very negative situation at one point, and I let it bring me down. Like, it really affected me. And I'm sure we've all felt this way. Like, this person that I was around, the negative energy that I surrounded myself with, was bringing me down to the point of I didn't know who I was anymore. And it was hard to pull myself out. And what it took was me stopping to think, what would I tell my child to do if they were in this situation? I would tell them to throw their shoulders back, to reevaluate their thoughts and feelings, to be proud of who they are and how they believe and what they're thinking, and to learn to be okay being alone if that's what it takes to avoid negativity. And I say that because that's what I did. When I was in that situation, I had to completely detach from everybody because the negative feelings that I was experiencing or seeing, and the negative behaviors that I was witnessing, like all the negativity, that negative energy that was around me was pulling me down. So I had to detox myself basically from that person and allow myself to understand that I was going to be okay. Okay. I was still going to have friends in other areas. I was still going to have somebody that would want to be with me at some point. I would still find myself in better situations than I would if I allowed myself to stay there. And when I left that situation, it was probably one of the most breathtaking feelings of my life. Like, I felt like I could be happy again. I felt like I could be joyful, and I seen better in people, and I seen better in my situations. Like, it got to the point being around the negativity that I was just like, man, I don't even want to get up. And that was every day. The negativity was so thick that I was like, man, I don't care if I lose my job. I was starting to lose who I was being around the negativity. So until I made the change for me by simply asking myself, what would I tell my daughter to do? I was going to continue to feel that way. And it was hard. It was hard. It was hard for a little bit. I'm not going to lie. Because as negative as this person was, when they weren't being negative, they were being fun and adventurous, and they were being kind and sweet, and they were spending time with me, and, all the things. But that one day a week or 2 days a month or whatever of positive was being outnumbered by the negative days. So I had to really weigh it out. And it happened one day. I was driving to work and I started thinking about, the situations that I was going through, the negativity that was around me. And this person felt self-defeated. Everybody's after them. Nobody likes me. I'm going to eat fried. Just negative. And then if they did have something to say about other people, it was they're a piece of shit. This is a piece of shit. They don't do this. It was just all bad. All bad. Okay? Um but when I got away from it, I started feeling better. I started feeling like that life in me had come back, and it was refreshing and it was comforting. And so now, hearing or seeing that negative comment the other day, since I've already been through that and since I've already known how to process that feeling of negativity and knew what it was, like I identified that in a hot second. I'm like, who cares? Right? Um, People can say whatever they want negative. You can let it affect you, or you can say whatever. It doesn't affect me. Because what will happen is the long run is if you let the negativity impact you, you're going to start missing the true you. Your friends are going to start missing the true you. Your family's going to start missing the true you. You will become consumed in nothing but the negativity. And maybe it's exciting for a moment, but it wears off for, pretty quick, pretty dang quick. So that's really all I have. We just have to start ignoring that negative energy of people in life, those around us that consume it and just live in it. We got to let them go. We've got to do better for ourselves. We got to love ourselves enough to care about getting away from that. And if we're going to stay, we have to take it to face value. In other words, they're going to continue to be negative. You just can't let it affect you. And there's people that can do that. I do that quite often. Um, but some people can't, so they have to put up a stricter boundary. That boundary setting becomes really persistent or present once you're trying to get yourself out of that situation or stop being around it or whatever. So I'm sure many of us can identify a time when we were around somebody that was just completely negative. Um, and we can think about how it affected us. And we can also think about how miserable we started to feel in the situation and what we had to do to make those changes. And a lot of that comes down to making boundaries, ignoring the negativity. So, I know some people struggle with this and they don't have it as easy as I do, just pulling themselves out. But as always, guys, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. I mean, we can talk about it. I don't mind. I can give you some tips and pointers, like just be true to yourself. So, yeah, that's all. But I do want to thank you guys for watching. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe, and hit the bell for future notifications. And have a good evening. Bye, guys.